Hey guys, welcome to the Superherocuts podcast. It's your boy Stevie Hayes, joined by Comic Cuts. Bro, how you doing today, my man? What's going
I
on?
am well. I am good. How are you?
Doing good, man. Living the dream. Always happy, man. Always loving life.
That's the
Always.
way to be. You gotta.
Yes,
We only
sir.
live one life.
Ahsoka show's doing good. Wheel of Time comes out Friday. I have nothing to complain about. Well, we got some stuff that we're gonna talk about. I got some
Yeah.
smoke, but all in all, man, I'm chilling today, bro. Living the Viva Loca, man. So all right. So first off, before we get into anything, I want to do a little bit where we talk about Chadwick Boseman, because obviously today marks the day that he passed away. What's up, Dragon Trainer? Miss you, bro. I hope you're doing well. But obviously today's the day that Chadwick Boseman passed away. So I want you to kind of just give like a quick not a quick, but just give like a little talk about like when you first saw him and seeing him in Civil War and Avengers, and just like the impact that just him as an actor like in the MCU has had on you as a superhero fan.
You know, I think Chadwick, when Black Panther came out, that was during the big rise of the MCU, and Chadwick carried a lot of that on his back. Obviously, he meant a lot to, I think every MCU fan, I think it's safe to say, care a lot about Chadwick. He was an actor that was just larger than life, and the momentum that he gave the MCU, led right into Infinity War and Endgame. And I think when Black Panther came out, he really caused a turning point in, a lot of people that didn't pay attention to comic book movies and kind of brushed them off were forced to, take a look at Black Panther because of the cultural moment that it was and the amount of people that were going to see it, that were talking about it online. A lot of those people that initially brushed off comic book movies, saw Black Panther, and that was for a lot of them, their first superhero movie ever, and they kind of realized what they were missing. And cancer, to me, it's really close to home. I'm very lucky that, someone very close to me survived cancer. But, if any one of you have ever gone through something like that, the tape plays forward, and, you kind of have to you're forced to think about what it would be like if that person, didn't make it. And, that's a really hard thing to think about, and you're forced to think about it all the time. So I'm sure this is a really tough day for Chadwick's family, but I hope they get to look at the impact that he had on comic book movie fandom as a whole, and I'm sure they're very proud of that.
Yeah. Obviously, we first got to see Chadwick Boseman in Captain America: Civil War. Also, to see him in the James Brown movie, because before he was in Black Panther, he did a bunch of biopics, which obviously you want to choose an actor like that. He's like the perfect person to do it. And seeing him come out as Black Panther, I was really shocked and surprised that he was going to be casted as the Black Panther. I was thinking that they were going to do someone like a Michael Jai White. I didn't think that they were going to go like that, comic accurate. And when I first saw him, I was like, bro, this is one of the most perfect castings that we've seen. Like Chadwick is in the Robert Downey Jr. esque, and he's in that. And the fact that we only saw 3 or 4 performances, that's the scary part. That really 4 performances put him in that S tier of just acting and characters. I mean, I think that he is one of the greatest actors to go into the MCU, and I'm just talking about off of just the ability of acting. He's truly gifted. I mean, and so seeing him in obviously the Black Panther movie, where he in my opinion, I think the supporting cast was really what shined in Black Panther 1. I don't really think Chadwick took the charging role. I would say it was more of the Michael B. Jordan and Latifah Wright as Shuri, and seeing that kind of movie, and seeing how Chadwick Boseman kind of kicked back and let his team eat but at the same time, when he needed to kind of like command the screen, he did. You know, seeing those like different traits of him was like, I'm like, oh yeah, he's just the guy. And as I said, and then seeing him in Avengers Infinity War, which I think is his best performance as T'Challa, either that or a Civil War, because evil T'Challa is kind of fire. I'm not even gonna lie, but you know, but just like it is honestly sad and that he did pass because, and you and I talked about this I think last week, saying that, you know, if Chadwick Boseman did Black Panther 2 with Namor, that might have been one of the greatest comic book films of all time.
You know, so what I was going to say, I think his best performance was Civil War, and
Mhm.
the reason that one resonated with me so well is because the thing about T'Challa is that as much of a hero as he is, you know, the thing about great heroes is depending on your perspective, you might look at them differently. And in Civil War, it was so accurate for T'Challa because T'Challa for Wakanda, of course, is, you know, their great hero. But to America, and it was a Captain America movie, you know, to Steve Rogers, he was almost a villain. I mean, he kind of was a villain.
Yeah.
And, you know, but to Wakanda, he was a hero. He was, you know, vengeful for their king. He was a great son. So that's why I thought it was so awesome, because T'Challa is, depending on how you look at him, a hero, anti-hero, villain, you know, whatever. And that portrayal was very complex because obviously, you know, even if you don't read the comics, you know they're bringing in Black Panther. You know he's a hero, but to the, you know, Steve Rogers, he wasn't. And I thought he carried that emotional depth in that movie like really well. And that's what makes his rivalry with Namor so interesting, is that they're both kind of in that same vein where, like, to their homelands, they're heroes, but to everyone else, you know, depending on the dilemma, like, you know, yeah, Namor and T'Challa will partner up with the Avengers, but they're always going to look out for their own homeland first, the same way the rest of the Avengers look out for American interests first.
Yep.
And I think that's really awesome. And those complexities are what make comics and comic book movies so great. You know, and it's interesting. I know we're going to get into comics tonight too. And, you know, T'Challa shines in that series that we're going to talk about in the exact way I'm talking about right now.
100%. 100%. And, you know, like, you know, just, you know, as I said, we send our love over to the Boseman family. Obviously,
Yep.
is his wife. You know, so and you know, like what a legacy that is left in superhero movies forever. This is like like the Black Panther movie, the first one, is probably one of the most popular casts that we've seen, like where there was a bunch of A-list celebrities in one film. We never really saw something like that where you have like Angela Bassett and Michael B. Jordan. Like there was a bunch of really good actors, and even the dude that played I forget his name. I can't even think of his name. Is
Ibaka,
like
I think.
Daniel. No, Daniel
Oh, Daniel
Kaluuya.
Kaluuya. Yeah.
Like another just A-list actor that you just have in in your movie. And shout out to the what's his name too? Who's the director? Coogler.
Ryan Coogler.
Coogler. Yeah, shout out to Ryan Coogler for like seeing the vision, you know, with Chadwick Boseman and creating like a really good film. And so yeah, man, RIP to Chadwick Boseman. His legacy will forever live on in the MCU, even though I do believe that he is going to get like I do believe that he is going to get replaced. I do think he's going to get recast. His son is probably going to be the next guy up, but regardless of what happens, I believe like he's still going to carry the legacy that, you know, that Chadwick started. So, God, I love that. Okay, so let's get into some MCU Spider-Man stuff because I know you and I were talking about it, so I want you to go into it. So, I know you sent me a theory that Spider-Man is connected to the across the or the MCU Spider-Man is connected to the across
Spiderverse.
the Spider-Verse. So just give me your theory and then I'll give you my part of the theory as well.
Yeah. So Uh, I watched No Way Home and Across the Spider-Verse both like night after night this past weekend. And it really had me thinking because, when obviously everyone's seen both of these movies. If you're watching the show, I can't imagine you haven't, but I want to talk about two scenes and how I think they tie together. So we'll go No Way Home first. Actually, no, we're going to go Spider-Verse first. Spider-Verse, the canon moment scene where, the nexuses in their webs and how everything is connected by canon moments that they all have in their own lives. So we know what canon moments are. It's kind of like the Uncle Ben, Aunt May moment Uncle, what's his name? The Prowler? Uncle Aaron?
Yeah.
Aaron? Yeah, Uncle Aaron. So what was interesting when you watch No Way Home after watching Across the Spider-Verse, obviously they came out in the reverse order, but if you watch them in that order, you'll know what I'm talking about. So when Tom Holland's Peter, lost everything, like the scene after Aunt May dies and Ned and MJ bring in Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, and they're like, do you know a place he would go to? And she was like, I know just the place. And he actually goes to the place that was in the beginning of the movie when he went with MJ up to the rooftop to avoid everyone in school who just found out that Peter is Spider-Man. So they go there. Peter is like devastated, and he sees two Spider-Man for the first time he's ever seeing other Spider-Man. And he's kind of like, I'm sorry I brought you here, but you guys got to go home. Like,
yeah,
this is done. I should have sent the villains home in the beginning, like he's really feeling down on himself. And at that moment, they were like, we know what you're feeling. And he's kind of like, no, you don't. And that's when they both recant each of their canon moment that directly relates to Peter's canon moment of losing Aunt May that he just had. And it wasn't until they recanted their own canon moment, he sees that they're Spider-Man, but he didn't feel that connection and trust to them, even knowing that they're Spider-Man, until they opened up to him and shared their canon moment. And I don't think that this was a mistake. It's too perfect. And here's the other thing, aside from the theory and you have to look at this from all angles, and the Spider-Verse movies are making so much money and they are so good. People can't stop talking about them. It's inevitable for Miles Morales to come into the MCU. And for a while I kind of thought, yeah, but they probably want Peter to do his next trilogy before that happens. With Secret Wars coming, they probably want to introduce a lot more characters than we know about. And I think that Miles Morales is coming to the MCU from a Spider-Verse crossover, and I think it's going to be the same Miles. I think he's going to be brought in live action. I'm not necessarily saying it's the same voice actor who's going to play in live action. That guy is Shamik Moore. I don't think they're going to cast him as live action, but I do believe that the Miles Morales that we know from the Spider-Verse movies is going to cross over into Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and I think that it's going to happen before Secret Wars. Boom.
Okay. Wow. Okay, that is very interesting. I actually agree. But I don't think that Miles Morales is going to be in Spider-Man 4. Actually,
I don't necessarily think he's going to be in Spider-Man 4 either. I think Spider-Man 4, I think they're going to go a little more grounded. I think they want to.
But you can still do grounded with a Miles Morales, though.
Now that I'm thinking
about it, right?
You could.
Because, think about like the Spider-Man PS4, right? Like in the Spider-Man PS4 story, like the first one, we still got a grounded story while giving us like a intro into Miles Morales. Now, I feel like Marvel's too calculated to not go that route, and to like copy what was done in the games, but I wouldn't be against that happening,
Well,
honestly, bro.
here's the thing. I don't think, like with my theory at least, I don't think that applies because I think it's going to be the Spider-Verse Miles Morales, and that Spider-Verse Miles Morales is coming into his own, whereas the PS4 Miles Morales, I think, just got bit at the very end of that game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think across the Spider-Verse Miles Morales, like I can see him popping up there, but I don't think he's going to stay there. Like I see, like
Okay, okay, I see where you're
I
going
see
with
it more
this.
as Miles kind of being bred like in like Miles already exists because we already met the uncle in Spider-Man Homecoming, and then we
Yep.
saw the we
Oh,
saw the
that's
and
another
then we
hint, by the way.
yes, and then we saw the test run where we saw the live action Prowler costume, which was awesome. My
Awesome.
gosh, that suit looked freaking dope.
And Donald Glover is like one of the most talented people in the entire
Yeah,
industry, and he's barely
and like you
scratched the
wouldn't just
surface of
waste
his
them for
career.
that one scene,
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so with like the Prowler and all this stuff, I think this is a perfect way to introduce Miles Morales. And I also think having a local Spider-Man is a perfect way to build up their relationship between Peter and the cop, and then Kingpin comes in, ruins it, and gets Miles' dad killed. Because I can see where Miles' dad speaks against Kingpin, and Kingpin has him killed, and
yeah,
that's kind of what starts it. So, like I think they're in a perfect spot right now to like start to fester that kind of vibe. I just hope that they do it because I honestly think they're missing out if they don't, bro. For real, for real.
yeah. And you know what else was so crazy? So for Into the Spider Verse and Across the Spider Verse, like the one, as much as I love both of them, the one thing that I wish, like, he was such a novice in Into the Spider Verse, and then through Across the Spider Verse, almost up until like the very end, he wasn't a novice, but he was very naive. And then finally, he like outmaneuvers the entire Spider Society, and he absolutely crushes it, and like you really see
Yeah,
him come into his own, and he was just absolutely lethal. And I thought that was so awesome. So, I think it would be cool to see the Miles that we already know and love and we're so invested in, and they've done such a good job with his character arc so far. I would like to see that Miles in the MCU rather than start from square one. And like I'm fully expecting him to be an absolute savage in Beyond the Spider-Verse.
I agree. I agree. And like, the narrative that they're kind of building now is like, like I know for me, like I have twice as fun playing Miles Morales than Peter in the Spider-Man
Yeah,
games because with Miles,
100%.
you just there's so much more to do with
The
Miles, bro. I mean,
electric and the invisibility.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you're basically unstoppable, bro. Like you have extra powers and it makes life so much easier when you're playing the game. So and like, I was actually talking to Matt. We were playing what were we doing? I think we were playing Gotham Knights, and he doesn't like the idea of Miles Morales, and I asked him why. And basically Matt is kind of, and I don't agree, but he doesn't like the idea of like tokenized characters, and he's on that wave kind of where like because like there is a side of fandom that hates like Falcon becoming Captain America or making a
Yeah.
Miles Morales Spider-Man. And the thing that I told him, I was like, to a degree, you're not wrong about the tokenization, but Miles Morales is tokenization that works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and for me, the way that I feel, at least Peter Parker is our Spider-Man. We grew up on Peter Parker, and I believe that the Spider-Verse is making it for the kids now that like this is their Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Like yeah,
the other thing too, like I totally get that's where that side's coming from, because like a lot of people are like, oh, well, James Bond should be black or James Bond should be a woman. And I'm just like, no, like if you want to make a black 00 agent, like go for it. If you want to make
just
another
do a whole
female,
new line.
yeah, and that's what Spider-Man did. Like Miles Morales is Spider-Man, but it doesn't change the fact that Peter Parker is also Spider-Man. So it's like that I'm cool with. And then Miles Morales is like an awesome character, and I think if anyone actually gave Miles Morales a chance who like has a problem with it, I would be hard pressed to believe that they didn't enjoy the movies, the game, the comics. Like he was done so well, and he was created by Brian Bendis, who is like a very famous comics writer. He's one of like the all-time greats. He's done Ultimate Spider-Man. He's done Daredevil. He's done Avengers. If there's like a big Marvel name, chances are he's done it, and it's considered one of the best runs of that character. And he created Miles Morales, and I personally think like it could be his best run of all of them. That
I agree, bro.
fire.
I think Miles Morales is one of the greatest comic book runs of all time, and to me, it's like a lot of people say, like, well, why don't you make a new character? He did make a new character. And then, and then I was talking to somebody, and they're like, yeah, but like he had to use Spider-Man. Yes, Spider-Man is the most popular character of all time. What is the point of making all of these new characters when you can make that? That's why I like characters like Kate Bishop. I love Kate Bishop in the comics, bro. She's one of my favorite characters. And it isn't because there's something so special. I just like the idea of having like different variant versions of the character that doesn't destroy the previous character. And to me, I feel like Captain America, I feel like Sam Wilson's Captain America done wrong can kind of shatter everything that Steve did. Now, I think New World Order, I think Brave New World is going to fix all of that. I'm not going to lie. Like, I think Brave New World is going to be like a banger,
Me too.
So,
but that's why they have to be more responsible with what they do. Like because of this whole controversy with doing this with characters, like, and a lot of people do have an issue with them making a new Black Captain America. They shouldn't be making that said Black Captain America having a controversial speech at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Because now you have people who already have an issue with it, and now you're like, we know you don't like it, and we're gonna take another inch further. Like, just make the show good, and people will shut up. But force it down their throats that way. Now people have a reason to not like it. Like that's a valid reason if you didn't like
look. Black Panther had a similar speech, and no one talks about it. Do you know why? Because the movie was actually good, and to me, bro, like my whole thing is like when you add in the extra stuff, and like I'm not even talking about just politics, because it isn't just politics and stuff that are being added. It's just so sometimes like they just add extra crap to these characters that just don't need to be added, And in my opinion, it's like at the end of the day, the majority of fans will let it slide if the content's good. Like, I'm just being real, and that's honestly where it comes down to at the end of the day. Now, I don't think Captain America should have been just taken out of the MCU from the start. That's where it stems from. There's no way Steve Rogers should have been benched now, And
I don't think that was their choice, though.
True. I mean, that could also be true. So then why don't you just bench the freaking character? Because bro, I'll just be real. Like, remember when Falcon and the Winter Soldier was first pitched and every fan was hyped for just Falcon and the Winter Soldier? I believe that they really gave the Cap mantle to make Falcon like feel more, or to make Anthony Mackie's character feel more important in the MCU. And at least from what I hear from most fans, a lot of people are like just mad in the way that they made it happen, So, it's whatever. I don't, as I said, I forgive Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because I really do believe that like New World Order is going to be like, or I keep saying the New World Order. I do believe that Brave New World is like going to be like, it's going to be like great, like, bro.
Yeah.
Brave New World is going to be insane. Legit.
Yeah. but they need to keep the politics out of it. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
focus on the plot.
with Blue Beetle, the politics in it were so like abrasive and condescending
I disagree.
that I couldn't focus on the plot. And I'll tell you the other issue I have, the one issue I have with Black Panther. You know, a lot of people said Killmonger was right, and like he may have had some valid points. I forget what they were, so if I'm saying valid points and they're not, like, don't hold me on it. I'm just saying he may have, but I'm pretty sure he said he wanted to kill everyone in the USA. Like, we live
in the world. He wanted to take over the world.
Yeah.
Bro.
So I have an issue with people like campaigning on Twitter. Killmonger was right when like the people were saying that if you let him have his way, we'd all be dead.
but bro, but like, who cares? And like, and as I said, I really do believe it's just, bro. I'm saying like, it's not like it's gonna happen, bro. Like, you know, like,
no.
like, I feel like that's just fans just take it just.
But I don't want to be virtue signal to people who are co-signing stuff like that.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, and like, I know you're not blaming the film. You're talking about just dumb fans that
yeah.
Have no knowledge.
I don't think Marvel is like advocating for everyone to die. Obviously, I know it's a fictional
because
movie.
that plot in the movie was fire. Like, that was fire.
Yeah,
for sure. I love that. Like, I love that whole plot point that he wanted to like take over with Wakanda. I think that's mad fire. If Miles Morales comes to live action, probably might be that we'll be seeing his legend. Yeah,
there's no way they don't bring a character like that and don't show off powers like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like having Wolverine without claws.
Miles is going to be OP, bro. Like no doubt about it. But he
was OP in the end of Across the Spider-Verse. That scene when he takes on 2099, that was
he took Miguel
hard.
out.
Yeah,
with ease. Actually, he wasn't even trying.
Yeah, he like baited Miguel into it too.
Yeah, even in the end when his variant is holding him, you see him charging up his fingers. I bet you when we go back to that movie, they're going to be cooked by that point because he's that powerful, bro.
I can't wait for that movie, and the music is so good. Like, watching that movie is like relaxing to a fire album and watching a 10 out of 10 movie at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. But about Blue Beetle, so somebody actually commented on our Why am I not? Somebody actually commented on our podcast about your comment. I'm about to read it off to you because I do to an extent agree. Like, I'm telling you, when we do this rewatch, you're going to like it a whole lot more. I'm telling you, bro.
Can't stand the actor. Like,
because but you can't. But you are the main person to say I don't let someone's daily life affect their job, and I think you are in this stance, bro. And I promise you, when we do this watch party, you're going to be like, the movie's alright. It's not that bad, but. Somebody commented.
It's not their separate life that's bothering me. It's what they did in the movie. I'm judging the movie on its own merits. They put the politics in the movie.
But I just don't think it is as bad as you say it is. Like it isn't a magnifying plot that stole the whole movie. You and I will talk about it off air. That's an off air combo. But but as I said. When we do that's why I can't wait till we do the rewatch, because then we can actually sit and like, you know what I mean, break it down like in like real time. Yeah. But now let's get to some pressing matters, you know what I'm saying? Because I got some smoke to give, bro.
When you do come through, we got to host a watch party off of my setup.
Facts. You just have to mute yourself when we're watching and then talk just so we don't get flagged.
Yeah, I asked ChatGPT how to do it. I forget what they said, but there is a way to do it.
Say that. All right, bet. Okay, so we're going to get into this second topic because I have a lot to say here. I'm actually pretty pissed off about this. Oh, I'm happy, but also mad about this in the same way. So, Jeff Loveness and Michael Waldron are not writing for Secret Wars. Okay, so if you don't know, these two dudes wrote for Rick and Morty, right? Yeah, they wrote for Rick and Morty. They were pretty big writers. Rick and Morty's basically to me a children's show. I'm a grown man. I don't watch Rick and Morty. And to make a long story short, they Jeff Loveness wrote Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And obviously, someone like me and Comic Cuts, we were looking forward to this show or to this movie, and we thought that it was actually going to be a really good movie. We thought that it was going to be the best Ant-Man movie. Now, here's the thing: we both like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, right? You and I both enjoyed the movie, but we will also acknowledge the flaws in the movie, okay? And there are some flaws that are just freaking like undeniable. You know, the VFX was not finished. The writing was completely terrible. Kang just overruled the whole entire plot. Why was Kang even in the movie? But that's a topic for another day. And there's just so much that happened. Ant-Man somehow beats Kang in a fight, which is crazy to me as well. Just so much in that movie happened, and a lot of that was because of the terrible writing from Jeff Loveness. So the rumor is that they are taken off of Secret Wars. Now, I think that this is obviously a good choice, and I was rejoicing, but I also am mad because why would you hire these guys in the first place? Like, I get it, right? You thought of Kevin Feige, probably thought of the Russos because they did a comedy called Community, and then it came to Civil War. But here is the difference, right, bro? And answer me this, Cuts. Answer me this. Did the Russos write any of the movies that they directed?
No, they did not.
No, they did not write the movies. There were two other writers, Marcus and McFeely, who actually knows the comics, that actually knows the content. Those are the writers that wrote all of the movies that we love. Winter Soldier, our last two Avengers films, those were written by those guys. And so my problem with Kevin Feige is, Kevin, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And maybe he got trigger happy because Marvel was just pooping out $1 billion movies at that time. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna just hire these random dudes because we can just make anything work. And that is not the case. And I believe that Ant-Man and the Wasp is 80% of the reason why Marvel really went into this dump and why Captain Marvel is most likely going to flop because of this very fact.
You mean Quantumania, not Ant-Man. You mean Ant-Man 3, not 2, right?
Yeah. Sorry. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And so this movie's most likely going to flop the Marvels because of the fact that we hire, like, Kevin Feige's been hiring bad writers, and it hasn't been just Jeff Loveness. There was bad writing for She-Hulk. There was I think the writing for Hawkeye,
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Thor: Love and Thunder, terrible writing. I thought the writing for Hawkeye was really good. I actually like the writing for Eternals. I think Eternals is an underrated and Marvel
100%.
I'm not gonna lie. That movie gets a lot of hate, and
so does Black Widow.
I don't know. Yes, Black Widow is also a really good movie that is underrated. But like, from the last couple of projects that we have received, the writing has been completely atrocious. And to me, like, because at the end of the day, the director doesn't make the movie, the writers do. It is easy. Comic Cuts and I could go in and literally direct. When you were directing, you're legit just putting what's being written onto screen. That's not hard.
Yeah,
it is the writing that matters the most. And so
you got to make the magic happen. So I wouldn't say it's not hard, but like a good movie, especially a Marvel movie, more of it is on the writer than the director.
Exactly, because look, I mean, they had the same director from the other two, so they had the needs for the magic to happen. It's just that the writing was so bad.
I don't know if I would even say it, but the writer's a big deal because, like, if you look at the best Marvel movies, those directors, like, they did their thing. You know, you got Jon Favreau, the Russo brothers, James Gunn. You know, and James Gunn, by the way, that's why he's a real unicorn. He's one of the only people who could write and direct their own movie. But here's the other thing.
And Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi is probably the worst person to ever touch a Marvel movie, period. But here's the thing. And I, like, am a Kang fanatic, you know? Mm-hmm. So, like, I've watched Quantumania multiple times. And there's and I've said it to you before, Stevie, there's one line that I just absolutely cringe at. And it's when...
Which one?
When Hank and Janet and Hope are escaping from Krylar.
Mm-hmm.
What's Krylar's actor's name? Bill Murray's, that
Yep.
like restaurant they were at,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, they were like, oh, I can't believe were with Krylar and like he's gross or whatever, and Hank was like, well, I had knees too, and I went on a date too, and they asked what went wrong, and he goes, she wasn't you, baby. I cringe every time. It is so corny. It is so cringe. You could feel that Michael Douglas doesn't believe in the line that he's saying. And I love Michael Douglas as an actor, so there's no shade to him. But that movie is horrible. And I've tried to like it. Like, even the best part, Kang, was underwhelming because they didn't write him properly. And that brings me to another big problem the MCU is facing. Like,
Yeah.
as exciting as the concept of the multiverse is, and it's like everything in comic book movie world, from DC to the Spiderverse to the MCU, and even in comics, like it is the hot topic everywhere, not just Marvel. But the MCU has failed to ever make the multiverse like awesome in the MCU. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, No Way Home was great. And No Way Home was great. But the biggest problem with No Way Home is that it relied on retro cameos via the multiverse, and we didn't have any like in MCU world originated villains. They were all villains from other worlds, so it was kind of like a circular plot. And I think that the multiverse would have really shined in the No Way Home if they at least had one villain from Tom Holland's MCU world that originated from that world. But I don't know. Could you think of one MCU multiverse movie that made the multiverse cool? Seriously.
Other than No Way Home.
And No Way Home's a big if, because I don't as great as No Way Home was, I don't think it did such a good job
I think
carrying the multiverse.
I think it did. I will say What If.
Okay, What If is, and that's a great point. But What If, back to what I was talking about last week, the follow up just isn't there. Like, they should have had the Watcher at the very least in a post credit scene within the same year. We haven't seen or heard of the Watcher since. We don't think we're going to even see him again until season
Loki.
2. Oh, Loki, they're saying he's in him. But yeah, Loki was a good for sure. But again, the follow-up just like isn't there. And that's why these few and far between projects that have made the multiverse cool,
Yeah,
I'm forgetting because the follow-up isn't
it's just
there.
bad decision after bad decision. I mean, even with the Doctor Strange, like I think making Wanda the villain was another step. Was another mistaken step. It should have been another character. Like you like Wanda, you don't waste your big hitter like that, like they could have used just a multiversal traveling character, or you could have revisited Dormammu. I don't know, like there's a bunch of other, Doctor Strange has so many other villains. Why are we wasting Wanda? So bro, like it's just I think that it was a multitude of just bad decisions, and this is what happens when you have too many hands in the pot. I mean, when it was just the movies, it was easier for Kevin Feige to control and to connect everything. And you were able to have other projects while they're still connecting to each other, right?
Yeah.
Because we have Guardians of the Galaxy, like where Ronan pops up. And then we get the correlation in Captain Marvel when we see that he was a part of the so like it all made sense. And right now, bro, it seems like and as I said, I believe things are changing, but at least I'm not going to say it right now. I'm going to say the last phase, because we are in a new phase and it is better. But I do think that in the last phase, it was just, we're just going to put out a bunch of these projects and then worry about connecting it later, And to me, like, you bring in technically one of the most powerful superhero groups of all time, the Eternals, who actually have a hand in the mutants being created, and we haven't seen one in almost 3 years.
sorry, the mutants.
The Eternals. Like we
Oh
haven't
yeah,
seen an
yeah.
Eternal in like 3 years, and like
And
in my
the
opinion,
hand, the hand.
yeah, and apparently we're going to see it in our Brave New World, and then we're getting this random behind Thunderbolts movie. Like there's just so much weird stuff going on, and in my opinion, it's like there's no way all this stuff is going on in the MCU and the Eternals don't pop up, or and then we heard Blade and the end of Eternals, and Kit Harington's will be playing Black Knight, but he hasn't heard back from Marvel. And then we're going to be in the Blade movie. It's just so much crap going on. And as I said, I believe Feige's cleaning it up because we haven't heard much after the Marvels. But yeah, man, I was not a big fan of how they portrayed the multiverse in the last phase. And what makes me even angrier is that they're like, I don't know. I
And the
feel like
Marvels,
they're Loki trying to run away from it now. Don't run away from it, fix it. Like there's
yeah.
still time to fix it,
And the Marvels, it like that movie could be a 10 out of 10. Like that, it's not gonna change anything because people already have a problem with these characters. And it sucks that is the way because like I actually think, Photon, I don't know well enough. I know
I
you're a
love
big
Photon.
fan of her, but like Captain Marvel,
Miss Marvel.
is Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel, like to me, are dope. I actually
They're
really
great
like
characters.
those characters. They're great
Well,
characters. I
think Captain
know,
Marvel's mid in the comics, but
so I agree with that. And I think that's part of the problem for a lot of comic fans and a lot of just regular moviegoers. I think that number one, Brie Larson isn't that likable. She says a lot of things that rub people the wrong way. And I get that vibe from her too. Stevie said before, I always say, I'm not going to judge someone's movie based on their personal life or vice versa. So I still like her as a character. I think she plays the character really well. But
agreed.
If you read the comics, Captain Marvel up until like now has never been. It's always been the male Captain Marvel. It's never been the female. They're trying to change that for obvious reasons. Miss Marvel, and I think that the whole MCU crowd, like they never wanted to give Miss Marvel a chance. Marvel was
and Miss Marvel's a good show.
Miss Marvel's a great show.
Yeah, and that is a thing.
I don't want to throw shade on that fan group because I'm not. I get like that. A lot of this crap and this agenda stuff is like shoved in their faces, whether it's from Marvel or other shows and movies. Like a lot of people are just tired of it. So if they think that that's what's coming to them, they don't want to give it a shot. And I get that. But if you can, Miss Marvel, I recommend watching because it's a great show. That actor shines. I forget her name. I think it's Imani something.
Yeah, Imani something. I don't know how to pronounce her.
Amazing, and that's like her first like acting role or something like that.
And she's a diehard Marvel fan.
Yeah,
which makes it even better.
She deserves our support. She seems like a dope girl too. But so my point is as great as the Marvels could be, like I think there are so many things working against it that it doesn't really matter. And that's like it for Marvel movies for the end of the year.
And that's why I hate fandom because of the fact that people want to like you can't give an opinion unless you see the actual movie.
Yeah, like, and by the way, that doesn't change anything because look what happened with The Flash. No one saw it, and everyone said it was the worst movie ever, and it was fire.
Exactly. And the funny thing is that now that is being streamed, a lot of people are taking it back, as I see on Twitter. One of the dudes trashed it, and I cooked them on Twitter. He actually made a post saying, "Was The Flash really that bad?" After watching it, I changed my mind. What an idiot, bro! These are people that we have to deal with. But yeah, man,
by the way, we don't condone the things Ezra Miller did, but we still enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, because it's about the content first. And to me, it's like and you guys I don't really care about the gender crap. Like at the end of the day, for me, like I am a very simple man, and all I ask is that the content is good, bro. Like that's all I ask is just for good content. All I ask is for the story to connect, and all I ask is for cool action stuff and honoring the comic books. No, like it doesn't have to be from the comic page to to the movie, because we all understand like they're not going to model it, exactly from the comics. I get it, but like there are some things, and DC has done too, where they just defer from the character so hard that you're like, bro, like what is happening? So Jeff Loveness and Waldron being gone is a great thing. And I am happy about that, because I think there is hope.
Also,
Now that they're out of the picture.
Weren't they like, or at least didn't you tell me Jeff Loveness was leaking stuff?
That's the rumor. That's the rumor. The rumor is that the account that was leaking a bunch of Ant-Man stuff linked to his email.
Damn.
Was probably in some of the reason why he got. Well, it's not confirmed that he's let go, but might have, be sort of the reason. Okay. So next thing, Daredevil is in the Echo show. This is gonna be a really like MCU centered show, because there's not really a lot of DC news. I'm gonna save the Superman Legacy stuff for next week, because we have a lot to talk about regarding Superman Legacy and the DCU, because James Gunn did say something very interesting. But anyways, so unless you want to talk about it today.
Sorry, I was checking something on my email.
Did you peep how James Gunn trashed the Batman Begins? Did you hear about that?
I saw it and I was like hoping that's not true.
All right, I will read it off. All right, we'll actually add that.
Do we know that this is? Do we know that this is real?
Yes, from his Facebook from like 12 years ago. But I'll save it for the end of the show. I'll save it for the end of the show. But anyways, Daredevil is an Echo. So apparently Daredevil is still wearing the yellow costume that he is from before. And apparently like him and wait, you didn't like the suit?
No, I have no problem with the suit. I have a problem.
Oh, the Echo.
That they're still making the show and they're gonna wear out Daredevil cameos.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
I don't listen. I think I'm still excited for Daredevil, but like they shouldn't be making the show, and they're trying to still make it, and they're like, well, at least Daredevil's gonna be in it. Like, I didn't watch She-Hulk. I didn't watch the episode with Daredevil. I don't care. Give us a good Daredevil show. Nobody wants to watch Echo. It's going to do terribly.
Yep. I agree. So you and I have talked about this 1,000 times, and I'm not trying to complain at this point, because I'm getting tired of complaining about this because I'm just getting angry. But I've been said they should have just put Echo storyline in the Daredevil show. It's that simple. Yeah. Like I think that Echo
I actually disagree.
I think that Echo has potential to be a good C-list character in the MCU. You could have just made her like one of the literally do with Echo what you did in Hawkeye. It's that simple. Just put her in as a C-list, as a C-tier villain who wants revenge for Kingpin, and give her a little storyline. I think it's cool. And like I'm not saying base a lot of episodes off of her, but like you can still include her in the Daredevil story, and it works, in my opinion.
Here's my problem with that is I don't think Echo belongs in a Daredevil show because A, no one cares about Echo. B, they already tried to do something like that, and that's how we got Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness with America Chavez.
But people liked Echo and Hawkeye, though.
I don't think people like Echo enough to bring her into Daredevil. And like, I don't know. I feel like they keep shoving these characters into things that like no one asked for. Not many people care for. And I think by now, like if they didn't bring Echo back, people would forget. It was like so long ago already.
I agree. Look, I think the Echo show is dumb. I mean, I am with you on that. I'm with you on that. I just don't have anything against her playing like an extra role in the Daredevil show to give me some more combat scenes. I have nothing against that at all. And like with her trying to kill Kingpin, I think that's a dope.
Aren't there other big characters that are supposed to be in Daredevil Born Again?
Punisher,
exactly. And that's what I thought. And also, I wouldn't be surprised if Spider-Man shows up. Maybe not because
in Daredevil.
I think they really want, because they said Spider-Man and Daredevil are going to be the face of their MCU street level. But here's the problem with that theory of my own that I'm about to nix in the butt right now. So I was looking into something earlier today, Spider-Man freshman year, which I cannot wait for.
That's gonna be a dope show, bro.
It's gonna be so
honestly,
dope.
honestly, I'm more excited about the animated projects.
Yeah, seriously. But here's the thing about freshman year: two things. Well, number one, to my point before about Tom Holland's Peter Parker showing up in Daredevil, the Disney Plus series. The reason it probably won't happen is because Tom Holland is not voicing Spider-Man in freshman year, and I have a feeling that the reason is probably there's probably two reasons, and one is bigger than the other. The bigger reason is they don't want to pay him what his cost is at this point. Number two, I think Tom Holland has been like working a lot, and he said like a while ago he's like I want to take a break, and I just feel like he probably feels like he's being overworked and he's taking on lesser projects, and if he doesn't have to do something, he's not going to do it right now. But if he's not voicing Spider-Man in Spider-Man freshman year, chances are very slim he's going to show up in a Daredevil 18-episode show because they're not going to be able to pay him what he's worth in that show either. And Charlie Cox is voicing Daredevil in Spider-Man freshman year. That is confirmed.
Tom Holland's probably going to voice, maybe, but actually probably not.
Well, no, they already said he's not. They already said
he's not. But yeah. but I will say this though, Tom Holland's getting the break he wants now. There's a strike, so and that's going to push the development for Spider-Man back probably another 2 years. So it's like at this point, he's gonna he'll be well rested by hopefully, bro. We better hope that Zendaya Coleman's not pregnant. For real, dude. For real, bro. Like that would throw everything. I mean, well, CGI, but that would throw a lot around. I mean, as I said, man, Echo Show shouldn't be happening. They're just trying to use just connective tissue to make us watch it. Obviously, we're most likely going to watch it just for this channel, even though we don't want to. And we'll just cook it every episode. I don't know what else to say. Oh yeah. So, but Loki is coming out, so I'm really excited for Loki, man. I can't wait.
It's October.
That's
right?
gonna be a good one. Yeah, man. That's gonna be a good watch for us, bro. That's gonna be a good. That's gonna be a good month of just watching some good MCU goodness and
we have Spider-Man 2 coming.
Dude, and bro, 2K drops this week, so I'm gonna be playing 2K all weekend. All right, let's get into we're talking about so much Spider-Man. Okay, so this rumor came out I think yesterday. Kingpin, Scorpion, and Prowler and Mr. Negative are in Spider-Man 4. How do you think about this, bro?
That doesn't sound grounded to me, but it sounds like a good time.
I agree. I mean, I think that this is one of my biggest things that I like in superhero movies. What's up?
Real quick, if the Prowler, if they're saying the Prowler is going to be in Spider-Man 4, that's more proof on the Miles Morales crossover theory. Yeah,
they gotta put him in Spider-Man 4, bro. We literally saw Donald in there, bro. But I love superhero movies where they have multiple bad guys. I think for a grounded Spider-Man story, that's like traditional comic book type stuff where like it's 3 different bad guys and you're dealing with a bunch of different people. I love that idea. And I also with Kingpin most likely going to become mayor. That's going to be a whole different. I mean, New York's going to be crazy, bro. And
that's the Devil's Reign storyline.
Yeah, exactly. And so seeing that leak, and I hope that leaks into Spider-Man 4. And then seeing Scorpion live action would also be super awesome because we've never seen a live action Scorpion. I'm pretty sure we did see the Scorpion like body pop up when all the Multiverse characters were like in the air during No Way Home.
Yeah.
Because I know we saw Rhino, and I'm pretty sure we saw Scorpion. I will have to.
Yeah, I kind of remember the tail.
Yeah. Are you a Mr. Negative fan?
I was just gonna say I am so pumped about Mr. Negative. I love Mr. Negative. I think he's such a cool villain. I love the virtue signaling act of his. I should call it virtue signaling because he actually is a real philanthropist. But for those of you who don't know Mr. Negative, he is a very wealthy Chinese businessman in Manhattan, New York City, and he founded the Feast Center, which is like a homeless shelter that feeds homeless and poor and impoverished people. But he also is a crazy villain that has a gang,
And he
and
was fire in Spider-Man game. Oh my god.
yeah, and his powers are like really cool, and he has it's like an ancient Chinese spirit. So he has these really cool powers, and he always has these nefarious plots. What's also interesting about Mr. Negative. So like the thing about comic book characters, and like this is why it's not so easy when people say like, oh, we'll make new characters if you want to see a black superhero. It's not that easy to make new characters, and when they do, it usually takes a long time for that character to catch on and gain popularity. And that's why the heritage is so important with these characters. What's interesting about Miles Morales and Mr. Negative is they're both fairly recent. Like Mr. Negative, I think his first appearance was like it had to be between 2006 and 2010. It was somewhere around there. 20 years comparatively to other villains is a very short amount of time. Not 20 years, but it's around 15 or so. And he's caught on. Like he's big in the comics. He was one of the main villains in the last Spider-Man game. And I think it would be really cool to see him as a villain in Spider-Man 4. The other thing I really like about having, I love all of these villains. Scorpion's probably last on the list for me. But the really cool thing about having Kingpin and Mr. Negative as villains, especially with the storyline where Fisk becomes mayor, like you're really letting the city kind of like that's some real world building. What was like for the Batman, it was really cool how the criminal underground worked with the mayor, and so I just think it's really cool to have a businessman that has a shelter and is very involved with the city. And another one of the main villains of the movie is the mayor. Like you really are world building to an extent that is grounds for a really good movie. Like that's kind of the world building that we saw in the Batman movie.
100%. I agree with everything you said. I think Mr. Negative is going to be something special, and I think he could possibly be even a fan favorite in the MCU.
Yeah,
I totally see that happening. Like I already see it now. Because as hard as these anime kids are simping over Miguel from Spider-Verse, like bro, have you been seeing how much like Spider 2099 is loved? Like now, like it's just bro all over, bro. I found this video. It's a 1 hour loop of a song, and it's all just animated gifs of just Miguel.
That's crazy. I mean, Miguel, like Spider-Man 2099 was so that everything in the movie, but also like the oversized gauntlets, like they made him look so cool.
And his score, oh my god, when he came in, when Gwen was fighting, what's she fighting in the beginning of the movie? Vulture,
the museum,
bro.
at the Vulture, yeah,
that was fire.
It sounds like a spy movie score too.
Yeah, and dude, honestly, if this freaking happens, I guess they're just doing Spider-Man, PlayStation 4.
Yeah,
yes, Spider-Man, and I wouldn't have a problem at all, to be real with you.
All three of them were in it, other than the Prowler.
Exactly, Prowler is with Miles. If they do that, bro, that would be insane.
That would be insane.
And what if Kingpin is in charge of one of these companies? Because what was that security company that Norman, bro? What if they come in the freaking Spider-Man?
Are you talking about I thought you were talking about the one in Miles Morales game.
No, in Spider-Man 1.
Silver Sable, but that's she's the head of it though. Silver Sable, and it's Sable securities or something like that.
Yeah. So what if Kingpin hires them? That would be nuts, bro. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
that would be crazy. I think that's exactly what happened in Spider-Man 1. I think it was actually no. You're right. It was Norman who hired them.
Think about this. The thing about this. What if like Kingpin wins and then Norman comes back and beats him? Oh my god! And then he's in charge,
Yo, that
dude.
would be crazy, crazy.
Bro. Oh, dude, I would cry. I would honestly cry though. So, man,
Man,
as
I
you
can't
see,
wait.
we are very excited for Spider-Man 4, but they need to find who's directing this movie because they don't have the director. And I think I said this before. I personally think Spider-Man Homecoming is my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time. After that, the movies like weren't really that great. I still love Tom Holland, so I would love to see who the new director is.
Yeah,
Um,
I think
I wish.
Spider-Man is like one of the hardest movies to direct. I would say
Do you know who? Do you
of the
know who would
MCU.
have made? Do you know who would have made the greatest Spider-Man of all time? James
No,
Gunn,
facts.
because he's so detailed. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, that would have. Oh man,
damn, that's like the perfect thing for me.
because bro, James Gunn is meant for the Supermans and the Spider-Man. Like James Gunn is made to direct iconic characters.
Yeah, you took the words
Or
that I was going to say. Iconic.
yeah. Do you know who else could have done
Who?
a good Spider-Man? Matt Reeves.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Dude,
Matt Reeves
so
would crush a Spider-Man symbiote.
all right, you're about to get mad because Marvel fumbled the bag. Do you know who? Did you know that Matt Reeves was in talks to do Doctor Strange after they fired Scott? What's his name?
Um,
Derrickson.
you know what though? I
Do you
like.
do you know the issue though?
I would rather get the Batman than a Matt Reeves Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah. So the issue rumored was that Matt Reeves wanted to rewrite it because Matt Reeves writes his own films, and
Yeah,
they were like, nah, you got to go with what's already written. He was like, yeah, nah. But imagine if Matt Reeves wrote Doctor Strange, that would have been a dark behind movie, bro. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
hell yeah.
And honestly, I mean, after Doctor Strange 1, I thought that Nightmare was going to be the bad guy. Hey, do you know? Have you heard of
No,
Nightmare?
I don't know. Like, I never really got into Doctor Strange comics, so I don't.
Dude, you're what, bro? You're missing out. Yeah, so basically, the Nightmare is well, I mean, the name speaks for itself. He basically comes to you like in your dreams. It's insane. It's really insane.
That does sound crazy.
Yeah, and I thought that Nightmare was going to get into America Chavez's head and use her to multiverse jump. I'm just kidding. Okay, all right. Morgan Stark will appear in Armor Wars.
Man.
Why you breathe like that? Man, yuck, 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 yuck. I will be honest. I think Ironheart is one of the most pointless castings in the MCU. Why didn't we just make Morgan Stark the next Iron person? Or why isn't Iron Lad in this when this whole thing is about King the Conqueror?
So, fun fact about Ironheart: the same writer who I was talking about before, who created Miles Morales, he also created Ironheart.
I think Ironheart's dope in the comics, though. I like Ironheart in the comics.
I didn't really have a problem with her in the movie like everyone else did. I mean, I did find that Power Rangers meme hysterical, and it was kind of spot on with the way the suit looked. But like Morgan Stark, like why? What's the point? Do you think there's going to be a ton of Morgan Stark fans? Do you think there's going to be people that are like, oh, she was great in Secret Wars. Let's make a Morgan Stark movie. I mean, who the hell in the world is going to be writing for more Morgan Stark content? Seriously. Not one person.
I mean, I will say this. This is what I'll say. It would have worked in Phase 4.
But they already kind of did, like, they had Pepper Potts as rescue. So
But I like the idea of Tony Stark's daughter following in his footsteps type of deal and help and I wouldn't have minded seeing something where like she is a part of getting the Avengers back. And when I say that, as in like she's like helping provide the tech, like her being like super smart, like I wouldn't have anything against that. Like, I
I
think that would be
just
super
think
dope.
I think we're getting to a point, and I know people are going to say, "Oh, but the comics do it," but like this isn't the comics, and I think we're getting to a point where the bandwidth of characters is full. Like the ones that are coming that we're excited about, or like if you're going to bring in a new character, have that character be worth it. If it's like an ancillary character like Morgan Stark, it's a waste.
I agree. I agree. Jeez. So, yeah, man. I mean, look, they had the chance to make Morgan Stark something because the actress that played Morgan Stark in the cut scene, which is the girl that played Hannah Baker in Netflix and the Netflix TV show. I think that was a really prime moment to kind of secrete her as
Uh-huh.
a coming character, and I think that would have been very, very popular because the actress is actually a really good actress. Now, I think it was wasted. To do a Morgan Stark in Armor Wars, look, it's going to be cool because it's Tony Stark's daughter, probably going to get a Pepper Potts cameo, but does it push the narrative for the multiverse? No. Um, you know, I think that I said Armor Wars is just another failed project that's just getting pushed up. So it's just honestly frustrating because, and I think, and I remember Comic Cuts. I told you this months ago. I said we're going to have to eat a lot of trash.
Yeah, but I don't want to eat trash. There's a Jerry Seinfeld bit, and he's like, I forget exactly what he says, but his point is like, everyone's like, oh, you gotta watch the show, like, and they're like, oh, but it doesn't get good till season 4. So he's like, so I gotta watch 3 episodes of trash to get to it good. Like, I don't want to do that, And it's the same concept here. Like, I don't. Why do we have to eat shit? We used to have like quality, quality, quality. Now it's I mean,
I agree.
even the stuff lately that we call good isn't good comparatively to the MCU pre-Endgame.
I agree. I agree. I agree. And there is a way to, and like and I know, guys, this episode might seem depressing, but what we're not going to do is just lie to you guys about how we actually feel. Like, we are not happy with what's going on with most of Marvel. And yes, there are projects that we're excited for, like Brave New World, like Spider-Man 4, like Secret War. Like, we are excited for MCU projects, but the thing is that, when something is done sloppy, we're going to hold these studios accountable. And and what a lot of people do is they just ride them, like, and just don't talk about it. But for us here on this show, yes, we talk about things that we love. We love the MCU no matter what. The MCU is what made me and Comic Cuts like close friend. Like, that's like, he my brother now. Like, that's because of MCU and superheroes. But with that being said, we are going through a bad patch, and we are going to
Yeah,
keep recording and keep doing this because it is going to get great again. And when it's great again, we're going to be having the most fun episodes ever. So that's all I gotta say, man. Look, so okay, now we're about to get to this comic book section, Comic Cut. So I'm gonna let you give our listeners some comic book recommendos. Talk about what you've been reading and just get into it, bro. All you.
yeah. So right now, obviously, if you read comics, there's a lot of good heat coming out. But I want to talk about the new Avengers series. So the new Avengers series, it's only 4 issues in. Um, you know, I guess I didn't realize I have to talk about this in a way that doesn't spoil it because I'm making recommendations. But
I
so
mean, bro. I mean, so I'm sorry if you want to spoil it, bro. All you, bro. Go ahead. I mean, honestly, our average watcher isn't even going to read it, so you might as well just go into it,
yeah,
bro. Honestly,
that's kind of
go
what I
ahead, go ahead.
thought. We're gonna like round table talk about it. So anyway, the
Yeah, my bad, bro.
Avengers, yeah, all good. So the Avengers series is really cool. Basically, and what's interesting is they made in the Avengers that I know they have Captain America, who's the captain of the Avengers in the MCU, but that's not just because he's Captain America. They actually have a captain. So this roster is the captain is Captain Marvel. Yes, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. But what's really interesting is So I didn't finish the last Avengers series because it was trash, and it sucked because it went on for so long. So I didn't really know some of the things that they were talking about in the beginning and what they were going off of. But what happened when they were recruiting for the new roster, there was some beef with T'Challa. But they still recruited him because they know he's obviously a valuable asset and he's irreplaceable. But what's really cool in the new Avengers series is Carol Danvers ends up off world, and Kang is like bloody and he was beaten to a pulp, and it was really crazy to see Kang like that in such like desperate need for help. And now what I really wanted to get into and talk about it was so there's a new villain, and there's like a group of them, and they are from the city called the Impossible City, and each of them has their own different, like powers, obviously, but they're very, like one of a kind. So there's like Idol Alabaster, who Scarlet Witch went against, the Dead, yes, that's his name, and then Iron Man fights the City Smith. Sam Wilson is the Captain America of it, and he pairs up with T'Challa to infiltrate Ash and Combine spaceship, headquarters. And listen, it is awesome. What's really cool about it too is Scarlet Witch. They're hinting that she's going to use the Darkhold against these new villains from the Impossible City, and I just think it's so awesome that they are taking their time in building this new group of villains from the city called the Impossible City. And I just think a lot is going to come from it, and I feel like this is going to be a comic run that people are going to talk about for ages. And when they first started, obviously 4 issues is a short amount of time, but when the first issues first came out, like the dialogue between the characters and the synergy and the chemistry and everything was really, really good. And now, like, it's going further than kind of like that surface level, just like easy enjoyment type of read, to becoming like a very large overall. You kind of have to see the direction that it's taking. And obviously, I think Kang is going to be more involved soon. I hope, in the next couple of issues. But I got to see what actually happened between him and the Impossible City, because they really like messed him up. And it's not very often that you get a new villain like the villains from the Impossible City, and when you do, usually they become iconic pretty quickly, and I think that's what's going to happen here.
Yeah. Are you sick, bro? You sound a little sick over there.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I
got a little cold going on.
Yeah, I got some. It's funny because I meant to take Dayquil before we got on, and I forgot to. So
what's hilarious is I was sick last week. Now you're sick this week.
Oh, I forgot you were. That's right.
Remember, I was down bad, dude. I didn't go to work for like 3 days, though. I was out.
Damn.
Yeah, maybe the sickness is coming through the screens. I mean, I don't know. It's all like
yeah. We got to get a COVID plexiglass.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Get a plexiglass when we're recording. All right, y'all. Right. We're going to end it right here. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Obviously, we're posting every day. We'll be live streaming Ahsoka Saturday. We'll talk about that and some other superhero news too while we're here, because there's supposed to be some more stuff coming out. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace out.
Peace.